All right, guys. So we talked about in phase two. We talked about um, staying focused, putting the blinders on, keeping your head straight. The importance of following the protocol to the letter and not trying to outsmart it. Really, just simply succumbing to the system and trusting the system, even if you're skeptical or excited, whichever you shows up. The point is to really go all in. But I want to talk a little about, and we talked about exercise and when to do it and how to do it and how intense to get along the way, when you can expect what you expect your body's going to do on that journey, and to not let it stop you from continuing the process. Remember, consistency is the key to success on this protocol. So whatever you start, you must finish. So you start exercising on this protocol, you must continue to exercise every week until you're done and beyond, because it should be your lifestyle change. Whatever exercise you choose to do, if there's a combination of a cardio and strength training, or yoga and Pilates, or any combination thereof, you want to be able to fall in love with the process, so you continue to do it beyond phase 2, 3, 4, and your phase 4 of life. If you stop doing what got you there, trust me, it's going to start to roll back and get you back to where you started from. So whatever you start, make sure you continue to do it beyond this weight loss process. Let's talk about food for a minute, because remember how much I talked about how important the food is, and measuring your proteins and keeping your food combinations within the guidelines. But I want to talk more deeply about preparing for success and what happens when you don't. So you want to pick 2 days a week to meal prep, where you measure out all your proteins based on the protein chart. You kind of think of combinations you're going to want to have throughout the week. You don't want to have the same combinations over and over again. So there's plenty of proteins to choose from seafood to poultry to turkey to beef, shellfish. Some of you will have allergies to some of those or can't eat some of those. But the point is that there should be enough combinations you put together that allow you to have 3 or 4 different food combinations throughout the week. By switching up the vegetables and switching up the proteins, you really shouldn't be bored and don't eat the same things. Now, repetition is the mother of skill and everything else, but when you do that with your food prepping, it starts to get dull and mundane, and you start to complain and get bored with the process. You also want to food prep 2 days a week. Make sure you always have your meals, lunch and dinner, prepared before you leave out of the house, if you're going to work, or if you have other activities you got to do outside of the house. If you work late shift or morning shift, I have some nurses that work, and firefighters that work, the on and off shift. Firefighters is easier because at the house they have full kitchens, they have full meal prepping, they can do that. But for nurses that work the long 24-hour shifts and the 12, 18-hour shifts, they find it very difficult. If you have a job, for example, that is requires you to have off days, where your circadian rhythm is off because you're sleeping by day and working by night, those can be challenging, but you just treat your days and nights as if they were days or nights. And your bottom line is you still eat this food, the same food timing, eat your meals the same timing. You just have to reverse it. You're doing it through the nighttime for those you have those hours. But make sure you're prepared for your meals. Make sure you don't wait till you're overly tired or overly stressed out, because you're going to make poor choices. If you get caught without meals, usually the go-to thing you want to fix a problem with is going to be the wrong thing. The most things that I see people break down on is not being prepared with their meals, not drinking enough water, and defaulting to some sort of easy packaged meal or fast food meal that seems like it should be okay. It's not. Eating out in restaurants, you have a 50-50 or 60-40 chance that it's going to blow up in your face. 60% chance it's going to blow up. Even if you're choosing, the organic chicken and the steamed broccoli, the problem is what you don't know causes the problem. You don't know that a lot of restaurants brine their meats and seafood and poultry, but that means they either soak them in sugar water or salt water to make them more tender or flavorful. That sugar or salt water could actually cause you to stall or gain weight. And therefore you think you ate on protocol, you think you followed the plan to the letter, you got an adverse reaction. I got to tell you that sometimes you're going to get away with eating out, and sometimes you're not. Most times you're not. The biggest problem is when you get away with it, because it gives you a false sense of security that somehow that worked for you. And in the first week, you can probably mess up and do a lot of messing up and get away with it, and it sets the tone for you thinking that that worked for you correctly. So I want you to realize that following the plan is following the plan. Preparing your own foods is the best option you have of getting the very best results. Eating out in restaurants or dining out with friends at their house, and they're telling you tell them I have to have chicken and so, them preparing it for you could cause some problems. So I just want you to realize that anything that you put in your mouth that you didn't put together yourself could produce adverse results. So food is crucial. It's key to your success. Your preparation of those meals is key to your success, because you know what goes in them, you know what you put on them, and you know that as long as you know it's within the guidelines, you know you'll be okay. Being overly tired and skipping meals is a recipe for disaster. Not eating all your meals is a recipe for disaster. Some people, well, I'm not hungry. I have very heavy or big people that go, do I really need to eat my last chicken breast of the night, or do I have to have all my fruit? You need to eat all of the foods. That's 2 proteins, 2 vegetables, or multiple vegetables throughout the day, and 2.5 to 3 fruits a day. That's the guarantee that your caloric threshold is not compromised because you skipped the fruit or skipped some protein or vegetables on your plate. Skipping meals is just like eating the wrong thing. Not eating enough puts you in starvation mode and can backfire. Cheating and getting away with it is going to be the worst thing that ever happened to you. You're going to think you dodged a bullet, but what it did is it planted a seed, a subconscious seed that will come up and haunt you again and again, that somehow you can get away with cheating. Somehow you're different, okay? Some of you are exercise enthusiasts or exerciseaholics, and I have very heavy exerciseaholics. So don't think because you exercise a lot that you're somehow going to be fit and thin. I have marathoners that are heavy, so exercise is not always not necessarily the key to success. I tell people that this protocol is basically 70% diet, 20% or 30%, 20% HCG, mobilizing fat, and 10% exercise. So you can't out-exercise a bad nutrition plan, and you can't out-exercise this protocol. If you overdo it, you tip the scale, causing the body to retract and hold on to fat. If you underdo it, then you don't burn enough calories to maximize fat loss. And if you simply just do nothing, you'll still lose body fat. That's one thing that's beautiful about this protocol, but you won't build any muscle that'll turn your body into a fat-burning furnace. So you want to be really precise with your food, and you want to realize that you don't want to get caught off guard. You always want to try and think ahead of yourself. Always look in your week and look for the potential dangers that could come up, the potential pitfalls, potential setbacks that are sitting out there. Corporate lunches, meetings with clients. A lot of times I have people, executives that go, I gotta eat out with lunch, I gotta have a cocktail, I don't want to be rude, or I have to eat with them because I don't want to be rude. Seriously, that's ego talking. That's not in your highest good. So sometimes people, I don't want to explain I'm on a diet. Fine. Say I have a nutrition plan, I have a nutrition coach, and these are the things I need to eat. Can't have alcohol for a few weeks, so sorry Jim or Sally or Sue, I'll catch you next time. I'm gonna have a club soda with some lime or some iced tea. You go ahead and enjoy your cocktail. I'm gonna eat a very specific menu on the restaurant. Part of this course, I'm gonna show you how to navigate restaurants and navigate menus to help you when you do have to dine out to make the very best choice. But ultimately, you're in control and you set the stage and set the pace. I have found that if you're sitting down in an environment where you're dining out with friends, or you have to go out to a corporate meeting, I always encourage you to be the first person to order, to set the pace of the luncheon. You'll be surprised how often people will follow your lead, right? They'll be surprised when they kind of see how you choose your meals, how they get impressed with the choices you're making. So when you ask the waiter, my wife Jenny used to do all the time, she'd go, the waiter would come, a waitress would come up, and she goes, "Hi, how are you? I'm Janie, and I'm gonna be the biggest hemorrhoid in your butt today, because I'm gonna ask you to modify things for me. I have a very strict and very specific diet that requires me to eat certain ways, and so I'm going to go ahead and tell you what I need." So what that looks like is I need to find out, how do you prepare your chicken? Is it grilled, sauteed, or whatever? They'll answer. Do you know if you brine your chicken? Do you soak it in salt water or sugar water? You go, "I don't know. Do you mind if you ask the chef that for me? I told you I'm gonna be a pain in the ass, but I promise you I'll tip you well." We go back and they check the chef. The chef goes, "No, they don't brine it," or "Yes, they do brine it." Great. Is it sugar water or salt water? Like salt water. Okay, so that means I'm gonna have I may have some extra sodium to deal with. I may have some water weight retention, but it's temporary, not a big of a deal. Just brining in salt water is much better than sugar, because sugar has to be detoxed from the body. The vegetables, what vegetable options do you have? I have a medley. Well, what's in the medley? Well, the medley's got something in it. You can't have one that's got squash or carrots. So you can't have one. Okay, well, you know what? Do you have steamed broccoli or steamed asparagus or cauliflower? Yes, perfect. Then I'll have the grilled chicken breast. No added, no salt, no extra seasoning. I'll have the steamed broccoli and a side salad. Perfect. Thank you. And then the next person orders. The fact that you went through that process and you were so confident in your choice of doing it, that you were in control, you were loving yourself enough to be respectful, but also request your needs to be met, people get pretty impressed by that. And next thing you know, they go, "You know what? Maybe I'll have the grilled chicken too, but I'll have whatever, and I'll just have that. I don't mind the carrots and melody, because I can eat that." The point is that you can set the pace for it. Doesn't matter if you're an executive, doesn't matter if you're a mom out with your girlfriends, or doesn't matter. The point is that you set the stage, because this is your journey. You need to be the one in control of it, and not be influenced by outside things, people, places, and what so on. So this is what the food looks like. You realize there's again, as we go through this course, you're gonna realize, wow, oh my God, I didn't think about all this stuff. That is the point of this coaching program. It's for me to plug you with information and knowledge, and just plant little seeds. You don't have to write notes and memorize all this stuff, but when you sit down in the restaurant, you may remember me talking about my wife Janie saying, "I'm going to be the biggest hemorrhoid in your butt as for this lunch," and that makes you go, "Oh, that's funny. I'm going to do that." And I ask this waiter or waitress how they prepare their foods. So we're here to help and navigate you through the minefield that is called life, as you work on achieving the body of your life. And as you do that, I want you to realize that the food is your food is your nutrition to feed your soul. It is sustenance. Some of you guys have been living to eat instead of eating to live, right? So the bottom line is that you think that you can't do without certain things. You can't skip out on the bread rolls because everyone else has a bread roll. There's a huge, great deal of power when you become the person that can lead instead of follow. When you become the shepherd instead of the sheep. You realize, oh my God, I've had this power in me all the time. But I have the power to influence myself to make the choices that serve me instead of the ones that don't serve me. It's all about your highest good. It's all about you creating the environment and the body and the health that allows you to thrive in a world at your highest good. So when it comes to food, I really want you to pay attention to what you eat, how you prepare it, make sure it's the right portions. Always be prepared to have meals already pre-prepped and ready to go. Do your weekly preps 2 days a week, or you may need more or less, but the point is you want to make sure you have, on Sunday you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday's meals ready to go, and on Wednesday evenings you have Thursday, Friday, and Saturday's meals ready to go. And if you do that, I promise you, you will not step on any landmines. You'll maximize your fat loss for the week. You'll lose tons of inches. You'll feel great. You'll have tons of energy. You'll feel confident. And every week as your confidence rises, every week as you do the emotional exercise that we're going to be teaching you, Jane's going to be walking you through this protocol, you're going to realize that you got this. Don't get cocky. Don't get arrogant. But get confident. That confidence is going to show up every day in your life beyond this protocol. You'll be able to maintain looking and feeling fantastic. All right, guys, I'm done with this section of the video. I'll come back. If I need to cover anything else for phase 2, it'll be in the next video. If not, you'll be moving on to the next phase of the next module. But I hope this helps you realize how important your meals are, how important prepping, being prepared is, how important minimizing eating out is, if we're eliminating it completely if possible, just for that short period of time, just for the time it takes you to get in the very best shape of your life. I promise you, you'll be able to eat what you want to eat later, but for right now, you gotta stay focused, stay on track, and get the body of your life. I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.